This is the brand new 13-inch iPad Pro with M4 Apple Silicon in it. And let me show you what it can do. And here it is. Brand new 13-inch iPad Pro comes in this nicely designed box. Inside the box we're greeted with iPad Pro itself, some papers, no sticker, 20-watt charger, and a USB-C charge cable. Wait, no sticker? Anyway, this review unit iPad Pro is 1TB silver with cellular connection. Apple Pencil Pro comes in this uniquely designed box. Inside the box we're greeted with some papers and of course Apple Pencil Pro itself. Magic Keyboard, which takes iPad to a whole new level, comes in this box. Once again there are some papers in the box and the Magic Keyboard itself. Magic Keyboard seems to be more defined, it has function buttons and a bigger haptic trackpad. Keys are backlit just like the previous one. And finally, Smart Folio, which seems very functional and light, and it supports different positions, which is nicely done. iPad Pro M4 is thinner than the previous generation. Actually, when we look at the thickness, including the camera bump here, it is still thinner than the previous generation. Even though the camera bump, this area is slightly bigger compared to the previous generation, the camera bump itself is less compared to the previous generation. And it kind of wobbles on the table. Just like the previous one. And when it comes to weight, my scale says my Wi-Fi only version 2.9-inch iPad Pro M2 is 686 grams, which is officially has to be 682. So I think my scale was off a little bit, but for the reference to each other, we can get an idea. The 13-inch iPad Pro is 587 grams, but technically it is 582. So knowing that my scale is a little off, when we look at the new Apple Pencil Pro, it seems like it is 1 gram heavier than the previous generation Apple Pencil. And when it comes to Magic Keyboard, this Magic Keyboard itself is lighter than these previous Magic Keyboards. So according to my scale, the old system, this one, is 1,398 grams, and the new system is 1,269 grams. And you actually kind of feel this when you pick it up. Now let's talk about compatibility, because as you can see, the magnets behind this iPad is different compared to the previous generation. What that means is this new smart case is not compatible with the previous generation iPads and vice versa. You cannot attach the new iPad to your old Magic Keyboard. And same thing goes for the Apple Pencil as well. You cannot have the previous Apple Pencil attached to the new iPad Pro and the new Apple Pencil Pro attached to, it's not latching in to the previous generation iPad Pro. They also don't work. The only Apple Pencil that works with the new generation iPad Pros, M4 iPad Pros, and iPad Airs is Apple Pencil Pro and the USB-C Apple Pencil. Luckily, Apple Pencil Pro is same price as Apple Pencil if you're getting new, but if you already have one, that's not gonna work with your case and your pencil. It's not gonna work with the new iPad. So that's why I wish their trade-in program had an option to send in the Apple Pencil and the Smart Keyboard as well. I mean, they can take it and then, I don't know, if they're donating those to schools or something, they can go to school and give you a little bit of money in return so you can buy the new ones and upgrade, because the upgrades are really good. It really makes a difference. So in that sense, you may want to upgrade everything with the iPad Pro, the new iPad Pro, but I wish the trade-in program included the case and the Apple Pencil. The screen of the new iPad is really good. They used something called the Tandem OLED, and compared to the previous generation, it is better. It is very much like the screen you have on your iPhone or other smartphones with OLED screen. What that means is the brights are brighter and the darks are darker, and there are no dimming zones. It's the complete thing is OLED, so when it needs to be bright, it is bright, and when it needs to be dark, there's no halo around it. And when it comes to brightness, in full screen brightness, when I spread out the full HDR video to the entire screen, I got 1820 lux, which is great. But then when I have the brightness spot at a smaller area, which it can get brighter, it went up to 3020 lux, which I've never seen on an iPad such thing. And in SDR mode, it is brighter than M2 iPad Pro as well. So what that means is when you're outside, this thing looks great. I was under direct sunlight and I was still able to see the screen without any worries. However, because it's OLED, just like all OLED screens, it kind of flickers. So if you're filming it, or if you're dimming it down, it flickers. You will not see it with your bare eyes, but if you're filming it, it just does. That's just OLED. They moved the True Depth system from here to up here, which actually makes a lot of sense because I'm usually holding the iPad this way. And even if I hold it this way, because the pencil is here most of the time, I'm not covering the camera. And even if the pencil is not there, it's a little above my thumb. I'm very happy that they moved it there. And it feels like because the True Depth system is moved there, it feels more efficient. Now let's talk about Apple Pencil. This Apple Pencil, the upgrades we got compared to the previous generation is really good. Now we can squeeze this. First of all, in the settings, we have setting for squeeze. You can set it to anything here. You can even set it to a shortcut, and we have sensitivity adjustment as well. And in different apps, it can be customized to do different things. In this Procreate Dreams, when I squeeze, it plays the video, and when I squeeze, it stops. As you can see with the barrel roll, let me do it this way. I can change the rotation of the brush. But there's also something else that I would love to show you. Do you see that shadow? As you can see, that shadow is not real. As you can see now, it changed to eraser. So if I double tap again, it changes into the pen I'm using. Also, another thing I discovered is if you move, for example, this around, and if you squeeze, this undo appears here, and you can move the cursors back. If this was a thing I didn't know, this is the first time I saw this. And also in this app, you can draw whatever you want, and then squeeze, go into the menu, select whatever you want. And if you go to undo, you can undo every stroke you did one by one, and on every line here there's a haptic feedback. And it really feels like there's a little bit of force to stop you there. It is very cleverly designed. Also, the movement of that undo, this icon, tricks your brain into the pencil is slowing down kind of feeling as well. It is really, really nicely done. I actually want to make another Bob Ross video using this iPad and this brand new pencil. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Now let's talk about the performance of the iPad, because this has M4 in it, and who asked for M4? I have no idea. As if M1 wasn't good enough or M2 wasn't good enough. The performances of these devices so above and beyond. We are waiting for the apps to catch up. We're waiting for the apps to take advantage of these insane chips. When we look at the Geekbench test results, M4 iPad 4 is clearly ahead. When we look at the 3D Mark results, M4 iPad Pro is once again ahead. I exported a song in Logic Pro. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. There's Logic Pro 2 for these iPads. and it exported faster. And then I did an iMovie export test.
1, 2, 3.
It was a 30-minute video, almost 30-minute video. And of course, iPad Pro, M4 iPad Pro, the 13-inch iPad Pro, this brand new one, beat all of them very easily. I was curious because they mentioned they have this graphite sheet in the back and copper in the logo to prevent overheating. I was thinking, okay, this is probably gonna have a heat issue, and then they're trying to minimize it with those kind of solutions. But no, I didn't experience any overheating at all. And actually, in iMovie, while I was exporting, the exporting took a lot of time. This didn't even warm up. So that tells me two things. First of all, the heat dissipation is good. Secondly, apps are not fully taking advantage of this. Come on, warm up a little bit. It's fine. It's fine as long as you're not, burning my hands. There is a lot of headroom with this device. The only time I felt heat from this device is while I was charging it, which is very normal. Which brings us to charging with this case. As you know, the Magic cases, these Magic keyboards, have a charging port here. And this charging port is actually faster. It charges faster compared to the previous Magic keyboards. But when it comes to battery life, I didn't have enough time to tell you precisely what the battery life is. But as far as I've used compared to the previous iPads, I didn't feel anything scandalous, anything that's gonna be like, oh, the battery life is so good or so bad. It just felt like the other two. This is M1, this is M2, by the way. Now let's talk about this Magic keyboard. First of all, having these function keys up here finally is fantastic. I keep forgetting they're there. So it's gonna take a little time for me to remember they're there and start using them. And I'm really happy they're here. The trackpad is bigger. While I was at the Apple event, the trackpad being bigger didn't really click in until I came back and I realized how much smaller it was previously. So now with this keyboard, this kind of actually feels like a MacBook with a touch screen that runs iPad OS. The quality of this Magic keyboard is different, it is better, and the backlight is so much nicer compared to the other one. I really like it. It looks like a city during nighttime. It looks really clean. But here's the thing. Because this iPad is lighter and thinner, as you can see, compared to the previous one, they are able to push this iPad more back on this case compared to this one. What that means is this one, the weight is actually a little off of the keyboard compared to this one. So I did a little bit of test to see how much force it requires for this to tip back like that. And it is a little less compared to the previous Magic keyboard. But while I was using this never fell back by itself. So technically, yes, it seems like it is gonna fall back easier, but in my practical use, in my daily use, this didn't fall backwards by itself. The trackpad on this device makes a big difference. It is so much easier to click. You can also click wherever you want, but it doesn't have that second click we have on the Magic trackpads. When you hold it down and you hold it down harder. We don't have that, but you can use 2 fingers for right click. And in the settings, you cannot adjust the firmness of the trackpad. Now, of course, probably one of the biggest questions is, since this thing is thinner and lighter, will it bend easier? Well, let's see. It feels as sturdy as the previous one, if not sturdier. But I bet if you want it, you can bend it. I bet if you want it, you can scratch it. I bet if you want it, you can throw it on the floor. And I bet it will break. This other smart folio case is now a little different, and you can use it like this, or you can move this a little bit to your liking, right? And then it clicks here, and then you have another angle. You can also do that with this setting, which is very clever and nice. There's another version of this iPad Pro, which has the nano texture glass, and I saw it during the event and it looked gorgeous. But I don't know how the Apple Pencil is going to feel on nanotexture glass, because on this it really feels like you're writing on a paper. It's super nice, but it looks gorgeous. And if it's up to me, if I'm buying an iPad, I'll probably buy a nanotexture glass, pay the extra, get the nanotexture glass. When it comes to cameras, I don't know if you're using cameras on your iPad, but we lost the ultra wide angle camera at the back of this iPad, and now we only have the wide angle camera back here. And overall, yes, this is the best iPad Apple has ever made. It is better than M1, it is better than M2. And the second you have this next to the other iPads, the second you pick this up for the second time or something, or go back to that and then come back, you instantly realize, yeah, they did it. It is faster, thinner, lighter, but now we need the apps. Come on, bring it. Bring it. I want full Photoshop on this. I want full Lightroom. I want full Final Cut, Logic. I want this to slowly replace my computer. When I'm traveling, I want to bring this and not go and think, oh, I wish I brought my MacBook Pro because in that Final Cut I can do this. No, I think this is ready. I think this is capable. Now we need the apps to support this crazy machine. Well, thank you very much for watching this episode, and I hope you enjoyed it. What do you think about the new iPad Pros? Is this something you're interested in? Are you interested in the nanotexture glass? I think that's really I think that's something really great to have on an iPad. Are you interested in the iPad Air or the other iPad, the iPad 10th generation that has that price cut? Let me know in the comment section below. And until I see you the next time, take really good care of yourselves and hoşça kalın.